Greg Heiser, Richard Fox, we're courtside. Time now for tonight's starting lineups. Also brought to you by Gonzaga's Checking, only at Numerica Credit Union. Gonzaga's Checking, it's checking for champions. Details at banklikeabulldog.com. First for Portland, Kevin Bailey, Tim Douglas, Mitrovic, Nicholas, and Vandemars. This is a very young team. At times we'll see 4 freshmen and a sophomore on the floor. Eric Revenue, a former star at Stanford, now in his 6th season as the head coach at Portland. 81-91 is the record, but he is building quite a program in Portland right now. For Gonzaga, starting lineup looks like this. Pangos, Bell Jr., Hart, Harris, Sacre. Again, young. But you've got some veterans on that team like Harris and Sacre. Gonzaga off to a great start. They've won 4 in a row. Their only losses at Illinois and on this floor against Michigan State. They're off to a great start. Of course, their head coach, Mark Few, now in his 13th season. 325 wins, 85 losses. Greg Heister, Richard Fox, you played Portland. Tell us about the rivalry. It's kind of overlooked in the West Coast.
Yeah, and it really shouldn't be. Really the only 2 teams up here in the Northwest, and they've had some of the better games over the last 10 years in this conference. Portland always seems to give GU a good game, particularly down there at the Chow Center in Portland. But they've been able to knock off GU here at home before. GU will be better served not to take this game lightly. Like you mentioned, Greg, the schedule Portland's face has been awfully tough. That record may not indicate really the level of talent on this ball club.
You saw that number 68-3 against conference teams on this floor as Elias Harris gets us going with the first bucket of the game.
And you see right there, one-on-one Harris versus Nicholas, sophomore out of G Prep here in Spokane. Nicholas really doesn't want to get into foul trouble. Not a lot of depth for Portland up front. GU is going to look to get that ball inside early and often. Try to get some production, try to get some fouls.
Shot away off, rebounded. Vandemars, can he go up strong? He does miss the shot. Rebound Harris. This is Pangos guarded by Kevin Bailey. And now Hart. Here's Douglas taking it away. Tough pass inside.
Yeah, Gary assumed Elias would be open. Make sure you see your man's going to be open before you deliver that pass.
Douglas missed the shot. Bell the rebound. Douglas looks a lot like Pooh Jeter used to play at Portland. About the same size. Of course, Pooh could really shoot the ball. We'll find out about Douglas shooting 31% from 3, but he's just a sophomore.
And he's a nice player, though. Had a great end of his season last year in WCC play. Not quite as good as Jeter. Jeter able to play in the league for a couple years, but like you said, similar stature, similar types of games. Douglas not quite to score yet early in his career.
Foul inside. Pangos goes to the free throw line. Douglas picks up our first foul of this game. And I believe Jeter wore number 11, too, if I remember right. Pooh could play. I tell you, that kid could play. I think he came into this building one time and threw in about 30 points and won here.
I know he beat us at the old
in
kennel.
the old kennel.
Yeah, and if we had won that game, we would have clinched the WCC regular season championship. As a result of that loss, we ended up tying with San Diego that year and ended up losing to San Diego in the conference tournament. Let's take a look at a flashback real quick. Fond memories of the old kennel.
The lob to Turioff. We missed those days, Richard. There's Jeter.
We'll get back into that, but
I'm telling you, they kind of look like one another.
Yeah, they're very similar. You know, similar quickness. I think Jeter was a little bit better athlete, but
you
overall,
keep calling him Jeter. It was Jeter.
Well, I know him personally, so
it's
Jeter.
Funny because I used to argue with everybody about that, and everybody used to say it's Jeter, but I know it was Jeter. And Pooh actually got some experience in the NBA over the last couple of years.
Last year. Previous season, played quite a bit in the D-League, was called up a couple times. Now playing overseas, I believe, in Spain.
Mitrovic for 3. Boy, not shooting it well this year. Kayson with the rebound, but may have been standing on that end line and turns it over.
You mentioned Mitrovic. Last year, first team All-WCC, finished 6th in the country, shooting 46% from the three-point line. But this year has not been able to get things going at all, only shooting about 33% from the three-point line. And when your game's that of a shooter and you're struggling from beyond the arc, it can make for a long season. His points are down. Last year, 13.5 points. This year, less than 10. So if they're going to have some success in conference, they're going to need him to get going.
Pangos for 3.
Great ball movement from GU against that 2-3 zone for Portland. Portland trying to really limit how much production GU can get inside. Looking to get GU those outside looks. And the way Kevin Pangos has been shooting the last 2 games, that might not be a good idea. Kevin over the last 2 games is 9 of 19 from the three-point line.
There's Kevin Bailey, freshman out of Clovis, California. Blocked by Hart, but a foul called on Mike Hart, his team's first. 17:34 to play first half. Bailey, a top 100 recruit for Eric Revenue.
Yeah, great recruit, maybe the best recruit of his entire tenure there. And look at his production in high school, nearly 25 points per game, 4 assists, almost 3 blocks. And this year, you know, he hasn't started exclusively, but you look at his production, gets a point every 2.5 minutes. That's an incredibly high rate for a player, particularly a freshman. He's looking to score on his touches, does a nice job putting foul pressure on defenses, as you just saw. Shoots about 3 free throws per game.
Missed them both. 7-0 Gonzaga. Pangos with it. Now Bell. Here's Harris. Up strong, blocked from behind by Kaysen. And back comes Douglas into the paint. Little runner, good, 7-2.
That's what he does. It's crafty with the basketball, shifty, relatively quick. You try to pressure him starting at half court. He's got enough quickness to get around you.
Harris couldn't handle the pass. This is Mitrovic with Douglas. Pangos slows the ball down. Kaysen for 3. That one's long. Rebounded Bell. Back comes Gonzaga. Bell. Finish Gary Bell Jr. Wow.
It's around 3 defenders on his own. Had Kevin Pangos on his left side. Didn't need the help. And I tell you what, Gary Bell struggling a bit from the three-point line here as of late, but he's done a nice job shooting over 50% inside the arc. You saw right there. He can finish around the rim.
There's a nice finish. Ryan Nicholas out of Spokane, Washington. Credit Gonzaga prep, 5-point game. Sacre, his first look, that's off. Foul inside. This will be on Gonzaga. And they give it to Elias Harris, his first, team second.
See, great position for Rob. Does a nice job going right into that jump hook, but just doesn't have any feel in that right hand. We touched on it the last game against Air Force, but he dislocated that right thumb. And anybody who's played the game and dislocated fingers, that's awfully painful. You dislocate your thumb, that's something that's going to be with you for a while. I talked to him before the game. He says it's feeling a little bit better, but it's really sore. Can't really squeeze the ball as much as he'd like. And you saw right there, the ball just slipped out of his hand.
Richard, it's sore sitting on the couch watching the game with a dislocated thumb.
Hurts all the time, doesn't it? Doesn't go away.
13 on the shot clock. Douglas to the post. This is Vandermars, young man out of the Netherlands. Out to Douglas. 4 on the clock. Douglas got it away, missed it. Sacre the rebound. Pangos transition 3. Kaysen the rebound. Travel. Bailey got under there. But he moved the feet. 9-4 the score. Watch the move by Bell Jr. That's a freshman for Mark Few. 9-4 our score in Spokane. 15:33 to play. Gonzaga leading Portland 9-4. Time to take a look back. We started this. This is back in the Richard Fox era. Game in the old kennel.
The good old days.
Jetter. 2003, they took you down, big fella.
Lou Jetter, a freshman, was about as good a freshman as this league has seen at that point guard spot. Just tough to stop and through penetration, can knock down the shots. I remember we came out really flat. I remember I broke my hand the previous game and sitting on the sideline, guys just could not get going and no energy despite a great crowd. And that game cost us the outright championship for the league. So.
Excuses. You just got beat.
They beat us fair and square. There's no doubt about it.
Jetter, 53 points against Gonzaga in the 06-07 season, a few years after that. That ended like an enormous... Sacre gets a jump hook and a chance for 3, but that loss to Portland and an enormous long winning streak at home against conference foe. That same year they lost to St. Joe and Jameer Nelson with a non-conference win streak that was crazy long.
You know, these are not the memories I choose to remember of my junior season. I missed the game winner against St. Joe's coming down the stretch.
My point is that this has been an amazing 12 or 13, 14-year run for Gonzaga, but there have been some rough moments too.
Oh, there's no doubt. You know, you can't win them all, and GU, as this run has progressed, brings better and better opponents. The league has gotten better and better. You can't take a lot of these games for granted like you used to maybe 7 or 8 years ago.
Here's Mitrovic at the elbow to the post. Vandermars. Hart was there. Out to Douglas for 3. Back iron. Bell the rebound. They got a good look there. Pangos transition 3. He's good, ladies and gentlemen. Keep an eye on number 4.
Just role reversal there. Bell gets the defensive rebound, brings it up himself, and Pangos fills that right lane and just spots up at the three-point line. Portland not doing a good job of finding him either in transition or the half court.
Mitrovic short on the 3 attempt. He is struggling from behind the arc. As Richard said earlier, 6th best shooter last year in the entire country from behind the arc. He had a teammate named Jared Stoll who was maybe the best three-point shooter in the country a year ago. Douglas missed the runner. Rebounded Harris.
And that's what made Portland so difficult the last 3 years, is that balance. You throw, a guy like Nick Ravio in the mix. They've had great balance with some of their bigs, and Knutson, Hannibal, Sigma, and made them difficult to match up against. But now they don't have the same type of balance or talent that they've had the last 3 years, and you see that reflected in their record. But that's not to say that they're not going to get back to where they were. You see it in a kid like Bailey, a big-time recruit for Portland, and they continue to do a better job recruiting and building on that success they've had the last 3 seasons.
David Carr just picked up his 2nd personal foul for Portland. That's 3 on the team. And Rob Sacre back at the free throw line for Gonzaga. He and Thomas Vandermars, the freshman out of the Netherlands, really battling on that post.
Vandermars is a nice looking prospect. Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of size to him. He's long, but only weighs about 225, but he likes contact. And, as a staff, when you're going out there and recruiting, looking for a big, you can add muscle, you change a kid's body, but as a post, does he like contact? Guys who shy away from contact, that's not something you can coach up. Either you have that or you don't, and a kid like Vandermars seems to like that, and that's going to bode well for him in this program. Because he can score, he's got good hands. He's going to develop into a nice player.
Carr goes to the bench for those 2 personal fouls. Vandermars also likes to play with his back to the basket, and those players are rare these days. Gonzaga on an 8-0 run.
You see Portland really struggling to score. Doing a nice job on the team defensively, although right when I say that, they give up an easy 2 inside off of the help. But Portland needs to do more of that. You can't rely on those threes. Look to create dribble penetration, force GU to help defensively. That should create some easier shots for you in your offense.
Pangos. That shot is off. Case in the rebound. Scored at one end, the rebound at the other.
Another nice looking freshman for him out of California. He's got range out to 3. Nice player. You got 2 great recruits here.
Nicholas missed the first end. Battling on the ground, got it back. He's tied up by Eddie. Possession arrow favors Portland.
About the 3rd time Nicholas has been on the ground, and anybody who saw him play in high school knows that's exactly how he plays. Tough-minded kid, going to play hard on both ends, excellent hands, good feet. And I think he's going to end up being a nice player for Portland. Undersized for a post, only about 6'6", maybe 6'7", but when you work that hard, good things tend to happen.
Marquise Carter on the floor for Gonzaga, along with Ryan Spangler, Sam Dower. And there's Guy Landry-Eddy with that rebound. Off a bad miss. Eddy, transition 3. That's long. Bailey the rebound, back come the Pilots. This is Bailey. Blocked by Eddy. Pangos up to Carter. He's got Spangler. Carter into the middle. And a blocking foul called on Mitrovic.
You look at Bailey, freshman, back-to-back possessions with poor shot selection, and a team like GU, you can't continue to do that. That's as good as a turnover, and GU's did a nice job all season getting out on the break. And despite Marquise Carter's struggles offensively in the half court, that's something that he continues to do well, and that's push the ball in transition and get himself to the free throw line. Draw fouls.
Kevin Pangos are leading the game in scoring with 8 points, 2 of 4 from behind the arc. He goes to the bench, replaced by David Stockton. Eddy fakes the 3, drives the lane, throws up the shot. And an offensive foul called on Eddie. He doesn't like it. Nice aggressive move.
Right call from the official. And it's probably a shot he should take. He's open.
Stop, pop.
Or just drop it off to Ryan. No, read the defense, but I'd like to see him take that first shot. That's a shot he can knock down. Mike Hart has struggled from the three-point line, and I know Eddie's numbers are not great as of right now, only 1 of 4 from the three-point line, but that's an area he's shown he can score those spot-up threes. You can't lose confidence. You miss one, that doesn't matter. If you're open again, take that first look. That's the right shot.
Gonzaga now with 4 turnovers. Here's Bailey. Derek Rogers, number 15. And now our first look at Tanner Riley, who fires the 3. That one's long. Riley came into the game shooting 35% from behind the arc. Stockton, low post pass, foul called on Kaysen. And that's his first. 5 now on Portland. 11:50 to play first half. Gonzaga off to an early lead. Oh, Eddie off the inbound, wide open and two-handed flush. 19-6.
Just a breakdown defensively for Portland. Portland thought Eddie would be coming off that double. An excellent call out of the timeout. Eddie just back cuts, gets himself the easy 2 points, and Portland struggled on both ends. Really what we expected, but they have really struggled, particularly on the offensive end now. Last 10 possessions, 1 of 9 with 1 turnover. 0 of 3 from the three-point line. GU's defense has been stellar.
Mitrovic bangs in the 3. That shot over Dower. Dower up court, missed it, tipped back Eddie, but a foul called on Guy Landry.
Nice look over the top from Stockton. Sam just rushed it. Let's take a look at this. Caught the end of it. And you see some of that explosive ability. Not quite as athletic as a guy like Earl Knight, but reminds me a lot of Tony Skinner with his ability to come off the floor, finish at the rim, similar body type. Not the same scorer Skinner was, but equally as good defensively. And those are the types of plays that can get him going.
Stockton, nice defensive play. Mitrovic tried to get it to Kaysen. Spangler posting up. Eddie. Spangler set the screen. Here's Dower on the low post. Jump hook left hand off the glass. Pretty move.
Yeah, we talked about it a few possessions ago. Eddie got called for that charge, trying to force the issue a bit there. Stops in the middle of the lane, drops it off to Sam Dower, who's got excellent position around the rim. And all Sam's got to do is turn over that right shoulder and deliver that little baby hook. Nice two-man game.
Kaysen drives. And he gets the roll. Foul called on Sam Dower. Dower's first, team's 5th. 10:20 to play first half.
Portland needed that bucket. Tell you what, they'll take him any way they can get him. So let's take a look. A nice play from Kaysen. Takes Sam off the dribble. Probably the right call from the official. Looked like Sam may have gotten him on the right elbow. Gets the lucky roll and could have a chance for the three-point play. But another good-looking freshman for Portland. I think the future's bright for this program. They're going to have to take some lumps this season. But as these kids turn into juniors and sophomores, they're going to be tough.
Eddie missing the shot at the other end, but now will shoot free throws. As Vandemar's up off the bench for Eric Revenue, will be checking back in for Portland. We've got a 10-point game and 10:13 to play. Guy Landry Eddie had to sit out the first 8 games of this season. Now is back. Fans are starting to see a little bit of what he brings. And as we've seen already, Eddie is getting minutes. He must be doing something that the coaches are liking.
Well, I think defensively, right away, he fits in with what you're trying to do. I mean, look, think about that combo at the small forward position for GU. That Mike Hart, who's starting, Eddie's coming off the bench. Really, those two kids are interchangeable. Wouldn't matter who started or who came off the bench, but you're going to get consistent defensive effort. They can guard the best perimeter player. They're the only guards who can really have any size defensively, and they buy in on that end of the floor, and they do different things offensively. A guy like Mike Hart, if he finishes, it's around the rim, does an excellent job on the glass, 3rd on the team with his rebounding effort. But Eddie's got more range to his game, more take with the dribble, and we've seen that here a couple times to start this ball game.
So Gonzaga trying to trap now. See what these young guards for Portland got. Pretty good job there. Mitrovic with it. Here's Riley for 3 from the corner off the glass. Almost went. Dower the rebound. Stockton fouled by Tanner Riley, the sophomore out of North Bend, Washington. You know, if you shoot it from the corner, it hits glass and goes in. That one almost did. You know you did something. You helped someone across the street today, or
the basketball gods are taking care of you.
Something happened, yes. Something good in your life happened, or good for someone else. Stockton at the free throw line. Gonzaga 6 of 7 to this point from the line. And Stockton now making it 7 of 8. Can't say enough about this kid, Richard.
No, you really can't. He's been tremendous for them. You remember last season, down the stretch, both Northeast Carter stepped up in a huge way. Without either one of those kids, you're not going to the NCAA tournament. And David's been good all year. He's put together some great stretches, but overall he's been solid night in and night out. He's an excellent backup to Pangos because he carries over some of that passing ability, can knock down shots. He's been a great pickup for GU.
Mitrovic over Dower. Again off. That's a shot last year Mitrovic made. There's Carter inside off the glass. Nice finish. He's a slashing kind of player.
That's where he's at his best, in transition, looking at, like you said, slash to the rim. You know, he drops it off, gives the ball up to David, lets David make the decision with the ball. All he has to do is finish it when he gets it back, and that's something he's good at doing.
22 on the shot clock. Carter with the deflection out of bounds, so Portland with possession. Riley goes out. Carr, Bailey, and Douglas in. Mitrovic also going out. So Carr back on the floor with those 2 personal fouls. And Kevin Bailey with the duty of getting it in by Dower. The runner inside, finished by Douglas. I'm serious.
Tough
Check
finish.
the driver's license. Is that poo?
Tough finish. Nice challenge from Elias. Just a better play offensively. Oh, man. I think I know who your favorite player is, bud.
Oh, I'm telling you, Pooh Jenner was fun to watch.
Yeah, he really was.
And if you get to the NBA, you were an awfully good player. Great inside pass by Carter to Dower. Free throws coming. And I know you hated Pooh because Pooh beat you. Pooh got you.
I hold no ill feelings for the kid.
Yes, you so do. It's so awesome.
Hey, we won a lot of games.
After all these years, you still hate Pooh.
We won a lot of games you probably shouldn't have. We lost a few we shouldn't have either. You know, it all evens out at the end, but it sure made that rivalry a lot more fun. And you know, I think that this rivalry has only gotten better as years have gone on. And you mentioned it at the top at the Open. The respect between Reveno and Few is really there. I think they both have a lot of respect for one another, and I think Few, having done it himself, really respects the way Reveno has tried to build up this program. He's done it the right way.
Douglas splitting defenders nicely there. Of course, Carr thought about the 3 and now Dries. Actually, that's Nicholas. Little jump hook, missed it. Harris the rebound. Stockton now weaving his way into the corner. Douglas was knocked to the floor inside. Harris driving. Got it to Dower, but a foul called here on number 12, Thomas Vandemars. I was going to say, these 2 teams forever were travel partners in the West Coast Conference. So it's very often that Portland and Gonzaga ended up in the same hotel rooms. And so these coaches have spent a lot of time together on the road talking. And there's tremendous respect between Reveno and Few.
Oh, yeah. A world of respect. I mean, and I think that's a healthy thing in a conference. You know, it's such a cutthroat business now, but that doesn't mean you can't appreciate what somebody else is doing. And you know, I think having the league get better year in, year out, and Portland being part of that is good for GU. And I think Coach Few has recognized that.
Here's a foul called on Elias Harris. This will be his second, 6 on Gonzaga. And for those who don't understand, travel partners, meaning when Gonzaga went to play Loyola Marymount and Pepperdine on the week, Portland was also in Los Angeles playing LMU and Pepperdine. They did that for years. Here's Carr. That shot is off, way off, but a foul inside away from the ball. And I believe this will be on Ryan Nicholas. That'll be his first. And that's 10 team fouls now on Portland, so Gonzaga into the double bonus.
And the offensive struggles continue for Portland now. 6 of 24, 1 of 10 from the 3-point line, 25% from the field. A lot of tough shots. You know, credit GU defensively. They've stayed home. They haven't left their feet on ball fakes. They've done a nice job of challenging shooters when they do go up, and they've done an excellent job on the glass, too. Only giving up 3 offensive rebounds here in the first half to a team who averages about 11 on the season.
And if there was any worry at all, at least to this point, in the first about 12 minutes of this game, if Gonzaga will look past Portland because of the showdown on Saturday with Xavier, not the case.
No, and I think having a guy like Rob and Elias on your club, guys who've been there before, they're going to emphasize how important it is to continue this streak, how to approach conference, and it's been a wonderful effort. And like you mentioned, considering you're going to be playing Xavier here in a few days, a much better game, or a bigger game nationally.
Foul called, 7:46 to play first half. Gonzaga leading Portland by 14. Well, 29-15 our score, 7:46 to play. Transition. Oh, Richard, break it down.
Little roll reversal. Belt brings the ball up. It's Pangos on the right side, right here, spotting up. The defense has a tough time. Mitrovic doesn't know to pick up the ball or get out to Pangos, and Pangos has been on fire the last 3 games, 2 of 4 tonight. He continues on pace from the three-point line, but that's an excellent roll reversal. That's something that Bell hasn't been asked to do a lot this year, and that's handle that point, make those types of decisions, bring the ball up the floor, but he's more than capable of doing that. That's pretty much what he did at the high school level. It's just been the fact that Pangos and Stockton have been so good at that spot, but right there you see he can make those types of decisions, and a wonderful read from Pangos. Didn't come over, try to beg for the ball. He filled the lane and got himself a great look.
Zachary at the free throw line. You were a big. What's a big supposed to be doing on that play quickly?
Well, ideally, you sprint the floor. You might get yourself an easy layup or force the defense to collapse.
Bailey out of control inside. Kaysen with a tough rebound. Back to Bailey. There's Nicholas at the elbow. And he threw it out to Douglas. Reset for Portland. Here's the lob. Nice catch, Bailey. Can he finish? Stripped away by Carter. Out of bounds. Possession stays with Portland and 17 on the clock. Their shooting woes continue. Portland's 4 of 24 from behind the arc in the last 2 games.
Yeah, they just haven't been a very good shooting team. 42% coming into tonight, about 32% from 3. And you play a team like GU with that size up front, that athletic ability, and as aggressive as it's been tonight, it's been that much more difficult.
Well, that ball was kicked by Elias Harris, but no call there. Ball goes out of bounds in possession to Portland with 9 on the shot clock. Bailey over Sacre. It's Kaysen. Fakes the 3 and drives, and the offensive foul. The charge on number 22, Dorian Kaysen. That's his 3rd, team's 11th.
Well, that's not Kaysen's game. It's 6'7", 215. More of a power forward who can step out and spot up at the three-point line. Trying to make plays off the dribble is not where he's going to make a living. And Elias Harris stepping in, taking the charge. We've seen a lot more of that this year than we have the first couple years of his career. Much more engaged on the defensive end and putting forth a lot more effort.
Actually, that's 12 team fouls on Portland. So we hit the 7-minute mark. Here's Carter. Pangos, bounce pass, Harris. Sacre flush. Did all 5, I think everybody but Bell touched the ball in that half-court set.
The ball has been moving crisply tonight for GU. Quick decisions with the basketball. No one's been a ball stopper. In other words,
Harris. Nicholas saved it, though. Here's Carr for 3. That's off. Nicholas rebound. Good. And I'm sure that Ryan Nicholas has family in this building tonight.
Oh, you would think so. A tremendous sophomore year. Getting the minutes, leads the team in points and rebounds.
Gary Bell for 3. Little hesitation there. I was like, oh, this is not going in.
Well, you know, he struggled the last 4 games, shooting about less than 32% when you consider the fact he started the year, the first 7 games, shooting about 48%. I think as a shooter, sometimes your confidence can be a little bit shaken, but...
So a little hesitation maybe is good for him.
Well, no, you'd like to see him go up the first time, but you understand why he might hesitate. But he's too good a shooter to do that. Every time he gets a good look, he needs to go right up with it.
Bell again. Ran into Bailey. That was off the glass and rimmed out. Carr back with it for Portland up to Douglas. 17-footer. No good. Rebounded Sacre. Pangos wide open. Bang. Pangos now with 11, 3 of 5 from behind the arc.
22 of 24 over the past 2.5 games. Didn't see a lot of hesitation there, did you?
Not at all. Just pure.
But I tell you what, when he's set, in other words, when he's not coming off a down screen or trying to come off a ball screen and shoot in those situations, when he's just set, catch and shoot, he's about as good a shooter as this program has seen over the last few years. You see right there, has time to set his feet, got excellent form, comes out the same every time, and he's got a ton of confidence in it. I'll tell you what, if you're Portland or anybody else in league going forward, he's a guy you can't leave. In other words, defensively, you have rules and principles. Some guys, if they're good enough shooters, there's a no-help policy. In other words, regardless of what else is going out there on the floor, if you're not leaving him alone, you don't want to give him good looks, you don't want to let him get going, and Portland hasn't been able to do that.
Of course, Kevin Pangos, the West Coast Conference Player of the Week, 21 points a game, 56% shooting, and almost 48% from behind the arc. Of course, he was no surprise right away this year for Gonzaga when he dropped 35 on Washington State, a team out of the Pac-12.
No, he's been about as good as advertised, if not better, for the staff. I don't think they could be much happier with the kid. He's been tremendous.
Gonzaga has been shooting the three well lately. Pangos, 12 of 23, Bell, 4 of 7, and Harris, 7 of 9. That's 23 of 39 for those three players over the last 39 attempts from behind the arc. Mitrovic just dribbled it off his foot. Portland keeps possession. And you know, the thing about Pangos, he reminds me of Dick Owen's step in the way that, and even Kyle Bankhead for that matter, when the ball leaves his hand, you just expect it to go in. It looks so good leaving his hand, you think that's in.
Yeah, you're surprised when he misses it.
Right. Nicholas off the glass too hard. Bailey with the rebound, threw it off of Eddie. So Portland with a new clock and the ball, 4:50 to play first half.
I tell you what, Portland down 20, but they're going to continue to play hard. That's something that this staff really loves about this group, that even though they've really struggled and they haven't done themselves a lot of favors with as difficult a schedule as they have, these kids, despite the losing, continue to play hard, and we've seen that.
Nice catch, Vandemars, and the finish. Nice hands by the guy from the Netherlands.
A nice little high-low. Nicholas delivers them.
Tough
nice
pass.
bounce pass. Yeah, good hands from Vandemars. That's going to be a good combo for them over the next 3 years.
There's Bell. Found space, shot away, no good. Nicholas the rebound. And now Douglas up to Bailey. He's flying to the rim, but the offensive foul called. Gary Bell Jr. back. I know, I hear you.
Love to see that one again.
Another look at it.
Let's see, he's outside the lane. Let's take a look. Nice look ahead from Portland. Yeah, gets there. He's outside the lane. That's an excellent call from the official. From our angle,
Richard
bang
Fox.
bang play.
You're more impressive every game I do with you.
Because I'm starting to agree with the officials, or what?
You admitted that you were wrong right away.
I didn't know I had that problem, but I'm glad that I'm improving.
Hey, I'm trying to make some comedy here.
I think I've heard my wife say that before. So.
Yeah, I'm sure. Boy, I'm sure. We're under 4 to play. Pangos setting up a new play. Brian Spangler on the floor, number 15, freshman out of Oklahoma. He's got it wide open, and the finish. And a chance for 3. I don't know if you're as high on this kid as I am.
I'm a big fan.
Because you played with Mr. Violette, I get all of that. Boy, I love this kid's game. Look at the hands. Watch this finish. That kid is tough. He is country tough. 3:47 to play first half. And welcome back. There you see the West Coast Conference preseason coaches poll. Gonzaga picked the win, at least a share of their 12th consecutive title. St. Mary's is second, Brigham Young is third. You see Portland down there at number 7. Kind of a rebuilding, a reloading year for the University of Portland. What do you think of that? BYU makes it a very, very interesting year in the West Coast Conference.
Yeah,
the addition of that
really does. BYU, St. Mary's, and GU are, 3 of only 8 teams over the last 4 years to get average 25 wins, or to have 25 wins. So that's impressive for one conference. And those top 3 teams, those are going to be the 3. We'll talk about it at halftime. San Francisco is pretty good this season. I'm pretty high on BYU. I'm not sure if you should be able to see them play, but their front line is just as good as GU's. That's going to be a real battle when they come up here and when GU goes down there.
Douglas able to dribble his way out of there. Just an amazing run now. I mean, only UCLA has won more consecutive regular season titles. That was 13. There's Riley for 3, and that's off. Bell the rebound for Gonzaga. Bell down to the baseline, back to Pangos. Back in the point guard hands. Portland doing a good job fighting for screens on this possession.
They're a hard-working team, and they do a nice job communicating. They just lack some size and athletic ability, and GU's been able to take advantage.
5 on the shot clock. Pangos deep 3. Bang!
Doesn't help when a guy's doing that. About 5 feet behind the three-point line.
Did I say a minute ago Dick Howard's step? That's exactly what those two used to do.
Yeah,
there was
true.
no shot deep enough.
Yeah, that's true, and there's no, you don't scout for that. You don't scout for a guy who can knock it down from that kind of distance. And Portland really had kind of looking around. 14 points for Pangos, wondering what's hit him. He's now 4 of 6 from 3. Let's take a look. A nice little pass out from Eddie, and Douglas just not close enough. And Pangos really can't get too deep on those jump shots.
Riley missed the shot. Nicholas the rebound. New clock. Matisse Kaita, number 25 on the floor for GU. Nicholas inside over Spangler. Missed it. Dower the rebound. There's Pangos again, already with 14 points in this game. There's Kaita. Tough kid right here. Lacks some on the offensive end, but he does bring stuff to this game for Gonzaga. Really tough, active, good defender. Tough pass to handle there.
Plays hard on both ends, and nice to see him get some run. Hasn't been able to really touch the floor at all this season, and had some great moments last year as a freshman. You're absolutely right, Greg. He's got some upside.
Riley. The shot's off. There's Kaita and Dower battling, but Dower stepped on the end line. Portland basketball with 1:39 to play. This run by Gonzaga in the Mark Few era. I mean, 11 straight, at least a share of conference titles now. All these consecutive trips to the NCAA tournament. I think the most amazing number to me, never a season under 23 wins.
Doing it in and out of conference. That's the thing. It's not just been a team in a down conference that hasn't, that's been able to dominate. But you throughout that non-conference play a tough schedule and win in that environment as well.
You remember the mood around Spokane is Mitrovic earning the trip to the free throw line, foul on Dower. You remember the mood around Spokane last December when they lost 4 in a row, and everybody's like, what's wrong with Gonzaga? What's wrong with Gonzaga? Then at the end of the season, another tournament title, another trip to the NCAA, or another league title, another trip to the NCAA tournament. And well, it's life goes on. It's like it never happened.
It's easy to take for granted. It's easy to take for granted the fact that they've been this good for this long. And if you think about it, imagine trying to be the best at something 11 years in a row. I don't care what it is. That is tough to do. I know the WCC isn't, the Pac-10 or Pac-12 or ACC, but it's a good league consistently in the top 10 in the country. And to win consistently the way they have when everybody is trying to knock you off is really an impressive statistic.
So Mitrovic at the free throw line. He's going to shoot 3 here. The officials were over checking to see if both of just shooting 2. Just shooting 2. So I think they went over to see if his feet were behind the line. I think he was clearly inside the arc.
It looked to me like he stepped in and that right foot was on the three-point line. Good call from the officials. And it's nice that they can go over there and check that quickly. That wasn't always the case even just a few years ago. A lot of missed calls because they weren't able to go and revisit it and take a look at it on replay.
Spangler wanting the ball. He comes out and sets the screen. Pangos bounce pass, pick and roll. Spangler got it back in the finish. I love the kid from Oklahoma. Can I say it again?
Country strong, is that what you mentioned?
He is country strong, man.
He's going to be...
Look at the tattoos on that guy. He's got to be strong for that.
He's going to be a nice player for him. A kid that could probably start for him here in a couple years. Is a nice play over the top. Mitrovic gets a nice pass from Nicholas. But I think Spangler's going to have a big role in this program. All 5 kids they brought in are going to have an impact, and that's a great thing to be able to say when you bring in 5 kids. Usually it doesn't work out that way.
18 on the shot clock, about 26 on the game clock. Pangos now will reset it. 6 on the shot clock. Dower set the screen, got it back. 3-point attempt, good. Big Sam, very versatile player for Gonzaga. Here's Douglas at the other end, 3 on the clock. Nice first half for Gonzaga.
Yeah, it really was. Offensively, shoot 60%, 6 of 10 from the 3-point line. And defensively, you hold Portland, who hasn't been good all year from the field, but you should hold them below 29% from the field, 1 of 13 behind the arc. Things really clicking on both ends for GU.
Kevin Pangos, another great performance to this point for the freshman for Gonzaga. 14 points. He's 4 of 6 from behind the line. Gonzaga as a team shot 60%, Portland 28.9. Gonzaga with a 49-25 lead after the first 20 minutes. Oh, Christmas is in the books as we start another West Coast Conference schedule in Spokane. And time now for your Coeur d'Alene Casino halftime stats. Can't make the game? Watch it with us. All televised Gonzaga games are at the Coeur d'Alene Casino. Great prizes, drink specials, and food. Submit your tickets for $10 EPC only at the Coeur d'Alene Casino. Numbers all Gonzaga, Richard.
Yeah, they really are. The bench points is what stands out to me. 5 different guys off the bench, led by Sam Dower with 7 points, have come in and had an impact on the offensive end as well as on the defensive end. And the 3-point shooting, GU finding good shots.
Wait a minute.
Knocking those down, and Portland really struggling from behind the arc, which is shocking because if you follow the WCC, Portland has always been so good from behind the arc.
Out of all those numbers, it was the bench points that stood out to you.
Yeah, I like balance offensively. Which one did you like?
The shooting percentage. We got a 24-point game. Of course the bench is going to play.
No, but they're being productive. Man, you're killing me today. You guys are killing me. I'm still learning.
No, you're doing wonderful. I'm just playing with you, Richard. You're going to be 200 games into this, and I'm going to be doing this sort of stuff to you. As you take a look at the leading scores for Portland, Mitrovic was 7 points, 4 tied with 4. For Gonzaga, it's Pangos. 4 of 6 from behind the arc, 2 assists.
Yeah, that's a nice look. Right there, Rob Zachary, 9 points, has knocked down all 5 free throws. That thumb doesn't seem to be bothering him as much as we expected.
Boy, you got to close out on Harris a little bit better than that. He had all day to line that shot up. Bailey, offensive foul. And look who it is. Pangos.
Shot goes up. Point guard needs to get back, and Pangos does that consistently. Harris misses that 3. Pangos is the first guy back, steps up, takes the charge. And
that's not even close.
No, that's an easy call for the official, and that's the second time Bailey's been called for a charge. Only a freshman, a great athlete. Needs to learn either how to get around the defense or try to shoot over the top. You can't try to run through guys.
That's 4 on Bailey, by the way. Bounce pass into the corner to Bell. What did Mark Few not like in the first half? What's he want this team to work on?
Well, I think you start having the bigger picture a little bit. Not only do you want to get things going as far as Rob Zachary gets another 2 points inside, but, I look at it, 11 assists, 15 field goals. You love that. You want guys to continue to be unselfish. You had 5 turnovers. You look at the offensive rebounds, though, for Portland, 8 of them there in the first half. That's an area where you really need to shore things up, not only for the rest of the conference, but for Sunday night, or rather Saturday night, against Xavier. As a coach, you're never happy, right?
You can't
There's always
be.
Something.
Not this time of year. You get to March, it's all gravy, but right now you're still learning. Pangos. Harris. And Nicholas got back defensively, but was moving. And the blocking foul called.
You look at the body language for Portland. a little discouraged, and you can understand why. That's something the staff is trying to fight right now, is to keep these kids positive, kind of have that, that big picture. They feel like they've sold it to these kids. Hey, this is a clean slate for us. We're out of our non-conference schedule. Now we have something to play for in conference. Let's see if we can do something here and get something going.
And Richard, this is something that Gonzaga has not had to deal with in the few era. I mean, Portland has had back-to-back 20-win seasons, and now all of a sudden they're 3-10. They got a really young squad. They're down. They're rebuilding again, trying to reload. Gonzaga has just been reloaded for better than a decade.
Yeah, GU's done it the right way.
Yeah.
They've done an excellent job staggering recruiting classes.
Riley bangs into three.
And it's all about players. You ask Mark Few, and the first thing he's going to say is, I've been fortunate enough to have exceptional players. And his staff has done a nice job as well as himself recruiting. And the fact that you're able to get that balance. Traditionally, when GU's at their best, they have an excellent front line, and they have good depth on that perimeter and personal players. And I think this year, it's maybe not as talented a group as they've had on that perimeter because of their youth, and they don't have great depth. But you look at the versatility, and you've got guys who can do a lot of different things. They may be young, but they're they're producing, and I think GU's set up in an awfully good way over the next few years.
Lob, Harris, Zachary too high. Hard on the floor, along with Vandemars. Possession arrow favoring Portland. I tell you, you saw the eye contact between Harris and Zachary. Right here, Elias sees Rob, and Rob sees Elias.
Actually, that's a good look.
It was a good pass.
You wonder if that taped thumb might have something to do with Rob not being able to finish it.
It was almost a hair too close to the rim, maybe, right? Bang the ball on the rim.
Well, I didn't throw a lot of lobs.
Not that you know anything about being up there either.
I didn't receive any, and I didn't deliver any, so I'm not the guy to ask. But I always told Blake, hey, in the numbers, I'll do the rest.
I'm giving you a hard time. You're a pretty skilled 7-foot player. Mitrovic from three. 20-point game.
And this is something as a coaching staff, if you're GU, one thing they definitely talked about was not letting up. Let's continue to get better, even if this game is already decided. We don't want to take a step back.
Pangos. Great ball movement again for Gonzaga, looking for the open player. And Pangos taking advantage of his opportunities.
Well, it's been impressive how quickly the balls move. You look at GU offensively, the ball hasn't stopped a whole lot, and sometimes offensively that's been a problem for them depending on what personnel are out there. Guys can stop the ball, but you see that right on the catch. Gary knows exactly where to go with it, and once again, Pangos does an excellent job of spotting up. And if you move the ball that quickly, it makes you that much more difficult to guard.
And Revino just stood up and yelled at his young point guard saying, get him off of you. Bell was right up on him, and he wanted Douglas to get him off. And that's up to the guard, right? Create your own space.
If a guy's up into you, the best thing you can do is to drive that pressure. Force the issue a bit, because if a guy's up into you, you start putting foul pressure on him when you take the ball to the rim.
There's a foul on Gonzaga inside on Rob Zachary. Rob picks up his first. That's the first on Gonzaga this half. Portland basketball. So I don't know if it's right to say that Rob Zachary has been in a funk the last few games, but let's just use that word for the moment.
Sure.
I tell you, I don't want to be playing him when he comes out of that funk.
No, this is
because he will.
Well, this is his best game in 5 games. You look at him down the stretch here, last 4 games, partly due to that injury, partly due to the fact that Sam Dowers really emerged once again, kind of picked up where he left off last year. But about 5 points and only 4 field goals attempted per game. This is easily his best game now. He's got himself 11 points on 3 of 5 shooting.
Harris fighting inside. Got the shot up. Tried to draw the foul. Reinforce that backboard after that shot.
We're not going to put that on a basketball clinic video, but they'll take it. Oh, so it's better to be lucky than good, right?
Elias wanted the call. Deflection by Pangos. Douglas picked it up and drove in. Left hand, good. Great use of his body there on Pangos. And the left-handed finish by Douglas. Good-looking freshman for Portland. Take a look at Elias Harris. Now, he's really upset that he didn't get the call here, Richard.
Well, he gets doubled, and he does a nice job splitting the double team. You see that? And he gets it up there. That's a clean block from Vandemars, but he'll take it. Portland down 56-33.
There's a pretty good player on that team.
Yeah, what was his name? He was a good point guard, right?
Yeah, another one from Canada. 2-time NBA MVP, Steve Nash. I don't think even Santa Clara knew what they had at the time.
No, but in the WCC, in any league, really. I mean, outside of the top programs, they often really don't know how a guy's going to develop. And he was about as good as it got here in this conference all time.
Harris left that shot short. Back comes Douglas. I mean, he was really good. Don't get me wrong, really good at Santa Clara. But how do you know he's going to be that good?
Yeah, you don't. But how did you know John Stockton was going to be as good as he was either?
Right? Or MJ, for that matter. If you knew MJ was going to be that good, he'd be the first pick overall, right?
Portland might have done things a little different.
Boy, they wish they had.
I think you could have found room for Clyde Drexler and Michael Jordan at the same time. Not sure, but I'm thinking that's probably doable.
Here's Harris. Pangos driving with the left hand, little runner with the right hand.
Seriously? Wow.
Yeah. Wow is right.
He's getting so much better using that dribble penetration to get himself looks or create stuff for other guys. I mean, 2 dribbles, feels a defense on his left hip, fades over to his right. Great touch and able to finish it. It's a great look inside for Pangos.
3 more years. Riley. Nice dish blocked by Sacre. Kaysen got it back and will shoot free throws. Kevin Pangos, 19 points on 6 of 8 shooting. He's 5 of 7 from behind the arc, but you can tell what a versatile freshman for Mark Few. Gonzaga up big. Here's the answer to tonight's Arby's trivia question. Which Zach currently leads the WCC in three-point field goal percentage? Pangos, Bell Jr., Harris, or Stockton? The answer, David Stockton. All 4 players are in the top 15, but Stockton leads the conference with a 54.5 percentage, 12 of 22 coming into tonight. Try Arby's new Ultimate Angus Philly today. Angus beef the way it was meant to be, slow roasted, freshly sliced and topped with classic Philly ingredients. Arby's, it's good mood food.
Pretty good numbers for your backup point guard.
Boy, I'd say. Mark Few has a lot of weapons at his disposal. And I don't know if weapons is the right word, but there's certainly a lot of versatility and a lot of answers he has sitting beyond the top 5.
Yeah, and just a great group. I talked to Coach Giacoletti before the game and just said the chemistry of this group, they're all coachable. There's no egos. Guys generally want other guys to succeed. And that's hard. You know, it's hard to coach that, hard to get guys to buy in. And it's so much easier when your group already buys into that sort of philosophy, and this group does.
Dower stripped by Carr. Back comes Portland. There's Riley. Fake on Hart. And a little runner on the baseline. Here's Stockton, the answer to our Arby's trivia question. Spangler posting up on Nicholas. Tipped away by Kaysen. Hart runs it down. Back to Stockton. 15 on the shot clock. Spangler. You could tell when they went up, that ball fell to the heel of his hand.
Yeah, it slipped out of his hand, but
Douglas. Here's an acrobatic finish.
He's been a little bit more productive here in the second half, but the second time he's taken the ball to the rim and been able to get himself an easy 2 points, or I should say a tough 2 points. I think that's when he's at his best, putting that dribble penetration, that pressure on the defense, and that'll open up his jump shots as the game goes on.
There's Spangler earning the trip to the free throw line. In time, I think he'll develop that left hand and use the left hand to the finish, right?
Let's take a look at this drive real quick from Douglas. Splits the defense. David does a nice job challenging without fouling, and Douglas able to hit the circus shots. But, you know, back to your point, Greg, with Spangler, I think he's going to be a tremendous player. A, because he can do one thing really, really well, and that's rebound the basketball. He likes contact. I think defensively he's going to be a solid player for him. You know, he misses a lot of shots around the rim right now, but part of that is the adjustment that most bigs have to make from the high school level to the college level, and that is you're playing against guys your size or bigger. Plays are happening at or above the rim. In high school, you don't have to deal with that often, and he's rushing shots. He's too worried about getting his shot blocked rather than just going up strong, making a solid move. That'll come with time.
And as you know, Richard, it's not about getting better in the season. It's the summertime where these kids really make the jumps in their game, right? It's the work that he's going to have to do on his own.
And this program, historically, that's been a huge summer for kids. You know, just off the top of my head, Ronny Terioff, Corey Violet, guys I played with, their freshman to sophomore jumps were tremendous. And that's because you play a full season, you're kind of just playing on instincts, playing hard, and hopefully things fall into place. But you slowly start to learn the game, and you get better as a result.
Stockton the steal. And he'll shoot free throws. Foul on Riley. I'm just thinking to myself as David heads down the floor to the other end. How many teams in the West Coast Conference would love to have David Stockton starting?
Yeah. I tell you what, anybody in the bottom 4 or 5 would definitely be interested in that. You know, the thing with David is, you know, his scoring comes and goes. You look at the last 4 games, he hasn't been as productive on the offensive end, only about 3 points. Only taking about 2 shots. He's not a guy who's looking for offense. What he does is he moves your team. He finds guys in the right spots. He makes plays with the pass, but he can score. We look at it, that 3-point percentage, but you know, the previous 5 games before the last 4, over 25 minutes a game and 12 points and 12 assists. He had 12 assists in that stretch. So he can get it done offensively if you leave him open, but that's not what he's looking for. He's so unselfish, and that's a great guy to have, particularly in this conference. This conference, he's not going to be physically overmatched.
Carr inside off the glass. Here's Dower. Had a little move on Vandemars there. Dower got it back, missed the jump shot. Eddie up strong, but lost his feet. Dower goes in there and digs it out. Possession arrow goes to Gonzaga.
Excellent hustle from Dower. You know, that's an area of his game, that extra effort, the rebounding, the defensive effort, that really isn't his strength. He's an offensive guy, looks to get his offense going, but you know, if he can start getting better in those areas, he's done a nice job the last 4 games on the glass, over 5 rebounds per game. Probably the best stretch of his career. And you saw right there the efforts getting there on those 50-50 plays, and that's only going to make him that much more difficult to deal with.
Stockton has it knocked away by Rogers. Spangler. Tough pass to Carr. Possession stays with GU, 21 on the shot clock.
Portland continues to play hard now. 18 points.
If you ever saw Revedo played in college, there is no way you're playing for him if you don't.
Effort's not going to be an issue. You're absolutely right. I tell you what, he demands his kids continue to play hard, and this program has really taken on that personality, and despite being down 18, they continue to put forth the effort.
Here's Stockton. Spins, left hand blocked by Vandemar. 8 on the shot clock. Open 3. Bang!
First you don't succeed, try again, huh?
If you're the best shooter in the league, why not?
Hey, that's a good shot for him.
It is.
You know, late in the shot clock, had to put it up, but got the first shot blocked. Stuck with it. No one came out to him, and he knocked it down. I mean, you leave David Stockton alone, much like Kevin Pangos, you expect the ball to go in.
11:43 to play. Gonzaga up by 21. Stockton, like you said, all alone and buries it. We'll be right back. Well, I tell you, there's some former teammates on the floor as you take a look there at Ryan Nicholas, the sophomore for Portland. Played at Gonzaga Prep here in Spokane. Played on the same team with Mr. David Stockton. Chris Sauerball there, number 24, a walk-on for Gonzaga. So some kids that really know each other well.
Well, that G-Prep program has been one of the best in Spokane, maybe one of the best in the entire state. You look at Nicholas, tremendous as a senior, first-team All-State MVP of the GSL, and a bright kid, too. 3-time member of the National Honor Society. So he's a good pickup for Portland. He's a solid player. It looks like Eddie lost the ball out of bounds on that attempted alley-oop over the top of the defense. A nice look from Carter, but Portland does a better job rotating over, doesn't give up the easy 2 at the rim.
Those sorts of plays, of course, not in a game like this, but Richard, are so important in the game of basketball. The emotional part of this game is Carter hustling for the ball right to the TV table here. Nice little crash. Had Richard running for the stairs.
Terrified there.
You were terrified.
I saw that you didn't try to move over and protect me, though.
No. You're closer to the action. I got you in between me and him, you know. It's all good. I know he's not going to run through you. But the dunk and the emotional lift it gives to a home crowd and to a team, Eddie's going to be very important as this season moves on and he gets more comfortable and he develops along with the chemistry that's already here.
The key is, you said, get more comfortable. And traditionally in any program, and GU is no different, it takes a while for those JC transfers to get comfortable with the Division I level. And as this season progresses, he'll get more comfortable with the speed of the game. He'll be able to make more plays on both ends. I mean, you see right now, the effort's there. The physical gifts are there. And we've seen flashes of his ability to shoot it. The ball comes out great from his hand. You know, he'll get better and better.
Douglas right down the middle, but lost the handle. Portland in their first 20 possessions, 1 turnover. Next 24, 3. In their last 18, 7 turnovers. Part of the story of this game.
Yeah, it's hard to win when you keep shooting yourself in the foot. And that's what they've done here. GU's defensive effort has been good, but a lot of those errors have just been unforced for Portland.
Harris got tangled up and then fouled. Portland shooting 60% this half after shooting about 28% in that first half. So their shooting's gotten a little bit better, and that's why they're within 21 as Bailey just fouls out of the game for Portland.
Well, I think they've done a better job of forcing the issue a bit as far as getting to the rim. We've seen Douglas now have some success doing just that. You know, in the first half, 2 of 8. Here in the second half, he's 2 of 2, and both those off of tough layups inside. And, you know, in the first half, they shoot 10 threes. They've only shot 6 here in the second half. So,
well, Bailey has. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Bailey has fouled out here.
Yeah, a little miscommunication. I saw the scores table indicate that to the officials. So.
And so maybe Eric Revenant wasn't aware that he had.
A look of Coach Revenant. He looks like he thought he may have had 3.
Here's Eddie. Oh, there you see it. That's 2 off the inbound for Eddie. That one was as explosive as they come.
That's what he can do. You said it twice now. Out of bounds plays, GU is focusing on trying to get him moving to the rim because he can make those types of plays. A nice heads-up pass from that baseline.
Carter, the bump on Carr. Well, Mark Few seems to be the best at this, Richard, in the country. I mean, as good as anybody.
Yeah, he's definitely as good as anybody.
Points off the inbound, right?
It's always been a strength. Out of timeouts, you know, dead ball situations, even just, you know, directing from the sideline. You drill it so much in practice. That's an excellent opportunity to score. Teams too often don't value that enough as an opportunity to get an easy bucket, and he does. As a result, GU gets quite a few of them throughout the season.
Sacre fouled by Kaysen. That's his 4th or 5th. I believe it's his 5th. So Kaysen fouls out.
Both freshmen for Portland have fouled out here with 9:35 left. Hey, this is part of the growing pains for a young ball club. Look at Nicholas, only a sophomore. Vandermar's a freshman. Bailey a freshman. Kayson's a freshman. And on. You look at it. I believe 9 underclassmen play for this ball club. These are the moments, the seasons, the stretches where when you're a junior, you can look back on and say, that's when we grew up. And now we're competitive. Now we're winning ball games. But sometimes it's hard to tell those kids to keep that kind of perspective when they're living it in the moment. And you just don't want to see this young ball club get discouraged if you're Coach Revenant.
Sacre now 6 of 6 from the free throw line, 12 points, 3 of 5 shooting. Portland calls a timeout. Sacre also 5 rebounds and just 1 personal foul, which always just amazes me about that guy. He pins more fouls on teams than anybody I've ever been around, but yet he rarely gets into foul trouble himself. And I don't think this year he's been in danger really since his sophomore season.
Well, he's fouled out 1 game, but your point's completely accurate.
Right.
For a guy as big and strong and a guy who searches out for contact, he does an excellent job of playing defense without fouling. And offensively, he's gotten things going tonight. We see the highlights. For a guy who struggled and a guy who's been so good to start this season, it's nice to see him get going and open up this conference stretch as a senior. He's too good offensively to struggle for large periods of time. He works too hard. And despite the hand tonight, he's been really productive, doing an excellent job around the rim. 3 of 5 and 12 points. He's knocked down all 6 free throws.
So I guess my point wasn't completely right.
No, it was right. I mean, if he's fouled out,
it was
fouled out of 5 games over his career, I'd be shocked. I don't have that handy right now, but the point is accurate.
It's amazing to me how physical. He's not a soft footer.
No,
He's as physical as they come.
I'm sure.
And yet he rarely gets into foul trouble. How does that happen? Just extremely disciplined.
Well,
huh?
you know, I think as your career progresses, you learn how to, when you first get here, you got to learn what playing hard really means. I think people discount that. Playing hard's a skill. I mean, we've all seen plenty of talented guys who just didn't play hard enough because they didn't know how. And that's something you have to learn at this level, what it means to play hard. And defensively, that's an area where guys usually pick that up quickly. And then it's learning how to play hard, play physical without fouling. And he's really mastered that for a post play.
And Mark Hughes says that he is as fundamentally sound at the seal and getting position down low as anybody he's ever coached.
He anticipates where the ball is going to go. His teammates do a nice job of consistently looking for him. Coach Hughes is absolutely right. He's the kind of guy, I watch him play, and I'm thankful I don't have to guard him because it's constant contact. He's constantly working, always looking for position when he's around the rim. And that really gets on you, puts a lot of foul pressure on you as a defense.
How about that little head fake by Eddie, and then the rise and pop.
Getting things going, Eddie. 3 of 4, 7 points.
There's Harris, the block from behind, and back comes Carter. Gonzaga with the numbers. Back to Harris. Free throws. Boy, I like that little fake by Eddie. Then a high rise, soft touch to the rim.
And that's part of the game slowing down. We take a look. Doesn't use the ball screen. 2 dribbles. Defense. Mitrovic loses his balance and a little ball fake to get himself square, and he just lifts up, knocks it down. I mean, and you see it when the shot comes out of his hand. He's got an excellent release, a good high point on it, soft touch. That's going to come. As the game slows down for him, he'll become more comfortable and more effective on the offensive end. I think he's a great pickup for them over the next 2 seasons.
Elias Harris now with 6 points, 6 rebounds. And Spangler on the floor as Harris goes to the bench. Sam Dower replacing Zachary as well. Here's Rogers. Bounce pass. And now Thomas Vandemars will shoot free throws. Gonzaga on a 10-0 run and now enjoying their largest lead of the game is at 28. Still 8:47 to play.
You talked about the fouls earlier. Portland tonight, 22 fouls. 22 fouls. GU's only committed 11. On the season, GU only commits about 15 fouls per game. Their opponent's nearly 22. That's a huge disparity. At the free throw line.
I've said it before, though. It reminds me of your era here, where you guys seem to win games by out-rebounding teams.
By the way,
we getting to free throws.
We refer to it as the golden era.
I think there'd be a lot that would agree with that. But, I mean, that's how you guys won so many games. It wasn't because you shot it better and you're better in transition or you're a better defense. You rebounded the ball and you hit free throws. And that's how you won all those games.
Well, if you think about it, if you're consistently looking to attack the offensive glass, you're putting foul pressure on bigs. If you consistently look to put the ball on the floor and get to the rim, either you're drawing fouls or you're breaking down the defense and you can get shots on the perimeter. You got to play this game inside out.
Possession going back to Gonzaga. David Stockton got to be careful here. His percentage is dropping. He's 1 of 3.
Yeah, obviously didn't see the fact that he's
leading the league.
Yeah, you don't mess with that, right?
No.
You make 1, go home.
Yes. Modest Merninghoff, number 22, into the game now for GU. Here's Carter trying to get around Rogers, and Carr does into the corner. Merninghoff, 3-ball, good. The German can shoot it. He's got one of those beautiful shots through the release is perfect, and the great rotation on the ball, Richard, in the air.
I'm a big fan of his offensive game. There's always a place for a shooter. Shooters find time on the floor. What he needs to do, and I think you see it, even in the limited action he's got, his effort on the defensive end is much more noticeable than it was last year. Last year, just kind of focusing on an offensive end, gave up a lot defensively. At 6'6", 6'7", he needs to do more on that end of the floor.
Gonzaga with numbers. There's Spangler. for Spangler, 6 points.
And credit Marquise Carter. That's an unselfish play. He had a layup himself. He rewarded Spangler for running the floor. For a guy who's struggling like Carter, he could easily have taken that in for a couple points himself. Nice unselfish play from the senior.
And it's the senior throwing it to a freshman. I love that. Here's the lob. Dower finish.
We'll be hearing that for a number of years. Spangler inside to Dower. An excellent pass over the top of the defense. Easy finish for Dower. Things clicking offensively for GU.
Mitrovic short. Dower the rebound. And foul called here on John Bailey, number 5. Ryan Spangler from Oklahoma, a freshman. The two-handed flush, 6 points, a career high, and the bench is loving it in Spokane. Guy Landry Eddy, number 10.
Well, he's been big time. Whack! Oh, big dunks around the rim off inbounds plays. See him here, backs it back. And he's doing it on the perimeter as well. Nice little jump shot here. Patient with his look. Reading things well on the offensive end. And did a nice job on the glass. 2 assists to go along with those 7 points. And defensively, he's done an excellent job as well, getting up into Portland's perimeter players and making their life uncomfortable.
And smooth. That little jump shot, that little head fake, and then that's smooth to me.
Well, he could score. I mean, you look at it last year, led his junior college to the national championship, averaged over 16 points a game. That's a pretty high level to be that productive.
Burning off the offensive rebound off the free throw miss. Bounce pass. Dower. Back to the line. Nice feed from Kaida.
I'm happy to see Kaida and Murninghoff get some run. Both kids continue to work hard in practice, and it can be difficult as a young player to be working that hard and not getting rewarded with minutes, particularly when you have the kind of quality players in Pangos, Bell, Stockton, Hart, Eddie. You know, sometimes it's hard to have that big picture in your mind, and I think both these kids could have a real bright future. I mean, Murninghoff, you look at his ability to shoot the ball, his size. Kaida the same way. His size, maybe not the same offensive ability, but defensively and the effort that he puts forth, there's spots on teams for those types of players.
I wonder what it's like for the rest of the teams in the West Coast Conference, how demoralizing it must be. When you left, I mean, there were 5 seniors that left that team. You got to figure as the league, well, this is our time to get Gonzaga. Then you don't beat them. And then the Pargo team, they lost 5 seniors. You're like, this is our time, this is our year, and then it doesn't happen. I mean, Eric Revido and the rest of the league has to look at this and look at the film throughout the year, and they're like, well, not only is this team good this year, Richard, but it's obvious by what they can see that this team is set up again to win for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I think at some point you just forget that. Hey, they're going to have a down year.
It's got to be demoralizing, though,
I mean,
right?
I think it gets frustrating. You just got to get good enough to beat them. You know, you can't wait for them to have a bad stretch or a bad season. You know, you can't worry about them. You got to worry about yourself as a program, continue to get better, and see what happens.
Boy, Douglas went in there strong.
You know, I think St. Mary's has done that. They've been competitive the last 8 years, and they've been able to reload too.
Competitive, but they haven't been able to beat them.
No, they haven't won the league outright, but they've won the you know, they've tied with GU at least once, if not twice. They've been able to recruit. You know, lost a guy like Kickert, then Mills, then McConnell. I mean, they have to find a way to continue to reload. But outside of St. Mary's, a few other programs have been able to do that.
Kaida missing the shot. Portland without a field goal now and better than 13 minutes, and there's another turnover. Carter on the floor, possession arrow, stays with Portland.
How good has Marquise Carter been tonight?
It really has been good.
Easily his best game over the last 6 or 7. You know, only about 15 minutes, but he's done a little bit of everything. 2 points, 2 steals, a couple rebounds, 3 assists. Hasn't turned it over, which has been a big problem for him when he has been out there on the floor. He's made simple plays tonight. That's what he brings you. Versatility, can do everything well. And that's a great piece to have either in your starting lineup or coming off the bench.
Step back shot there by Corey Tilke was off. Sophomore out of Bakersfield, California. Here's Dower. Into the middle. That's unstoppable.
It's amazing teams haven't figured out. Let's have him go over his left shoulder. Teams continue to give him that right shoulder, and if you do that, he's about as unstoppable as anybody in this conference. I mean, we've seen it now last year in league. about 65% from the field. Tonight, kind of a slow start, but now 4 of 6 from the field. Teams just haven't had an answer for him in that left-handed jump hook and that little turnaround.
I need to clarify this. The 12:50 mark was the last time Portland made a field goal, so they're drought now over 7 minutes. Not quite as bad as I originally described.
I'm sure when they watch this, they'll appreciate. But I tell you what, I think you got to have the big picture in mind. And I know I've been on bad teams. When I was at Colorado, we weren't very good, and it was frustrating. And particularly from a high school level, when you're used to winning, to go somewhere, and it means so much more in college, it can be really demoralizing. But they got some good pieces. They just have to be patient with it, both as a staff as in a collective group of players.
Dower charging hard to the rim. Sam Dower now with 15 points.
His numbers continue to creep up over the last 4 games coming into tonight. 12 points per game. That's only going to go up tonight. As Douglas knocks down a jump shot. He's had a much better second half here. Now with 10 points, 5 of 12 from the field. 3 of 4 here in the second half. You see here in the second half, he's got some ability at that point guard position.
.441 to play. Matisse Kaida at the free throw line. Matisse out of Thionville, France. Sophomore now, 6'5", 200 pounds. I think when Gonzaga recruited him, they kind of saw him as a defensive specialist, an energy guy, a guy just comes in, creates some havoc.
If he's looking for a reason as to maybe why he's not getting the amount of run he's looking for, his offensive game is still developing. He doesn't have a great handle. He's got some passing ability, but he's not able to knock down jump shots on a regular basis. And when you got a guy like Carter and Eddie, guys who are excellent defensively and can do some things, particularly Eddie offensively, it's going to be tough to find some minutes. And we've seen that here this year.
Gonzaga now with 11 players to score in this game. They lead at 83-46. Xavier coming up on Saturday, a top 10 team, maybe a top 5 team.
And when they're
coming off all those suspensions and everybody is scheduled to be back, this may be the toughest. Well, it is the toughest test of the season for Gonzaga coming up on Saturday. You agree?
I agree. Now they haven't been playing all that well as of late since the suspension. I want to say 3 or 4 they've dropped. But when they're right,
but they've been missing players.
I know, and that's true. But when they're right, when they got their full collection of guys and they're playing well, I do think they're a top 5 team.
They're a Final Four caliber team.
Their backcourt is as good as anybody in the country. They're athletic inside. They got a big kid in Freeze who may not be the most skilled kid, but he's large. He likes contact. Kind of sets the tone for them as far as how physical they are. And they're a tough-minded group. We've seen that before. And outside of just the altercation with Cincinnati, they've always been known at that program as being a really tough-nosed group of kids.
Kaida. Spangler was headed to the rim. That's off Merninghoff. Portland basketball. .406 to play. Gonzaga leading at 83-48 and the turnover there. So Gonzaga basketball with .405 to play now. And the thing about Xavier, those are juniors and seniors. It's a really veteran-laden club, and it is designed to win and to win this year.
Yeah, athletic too. Probably the most athletic team GU will have faced, including Arizona, who had some tremendous athletes. It's gonna be a fun game to watch, no doubt about that.
Mike Hart wide open 3 off the front of the rim. Spangler the rebound and the finish.
He has a nose for the ball, doesn't he?
He does.
8 points, career high, 4 of 6 from the field. Just seems to always be around the basketball.
Eric Waterford, number 1 on the floor for Portland. There's Kaida poking the ball away from John Bailey. Time now for our cost cutters play or plays of the game. Just one play. All 5 players touching the ball here for Gonzaga in the first half. Great team play for GU. Cost cutters, family hair salons in North Idaho. Perms, colors, haircuts starting at $14. Open daily. Cost Cutters. We'll be back. And we're back as we take a look at the upcoming schedule for Gonzaga, Xavier, and then deep into the league play. This was the scene I think everybody who's a sports fan at all, and maybe even if you're not, you've seen this altercation between Xavier and Cincinnati a couple of weeks ago. One of the most deplorable things I've ever seen in college athletics, and 6-game suspensions for some players for Xavier and Cincinnati, and I could talk the next hour about what happened there, and I just as soon not even see it ever again. And
disappointing.
I'm not sure some of these players should be playing ever again in college athletics. Let me just say that. 3:05 to play.
Well, when I first saw it, I thought to myself, I've never seen anything like that before. But that's in the moment. And then as I thought back, this history of college basketball, you've seen things similar to that as you go back in history. But I wouldn't be that severe. I thought some of those suspensions could have been 10 games. I think people and kids deserve another opportunity, and I think that's a good thing. But it was the worst thing I've seen in a long time, and just so out of control, and so much just venom between those two teams. You almost have to question, should those teams play together? Because last year they almost got in a fight as well.
But if it's the worst thing you've seen in your years around this game, then maybe it ought to result in the worst suspension that we've ever seen. And making a kid sit out for the year. Richard, I mean,
no, you saw it with Boise State.
There should have been felony charges in something like that. I'm not talking about the initial confrontation. Fights happen in the game. But when you kick someone in the face.
Sure. I'm not trying to defend it, but you saw it a couple years ago, and I believe Blunt punched a kid from Boise State, was suspended or kicked off the team, was able to work his way back, and ended up finishing well for Oregon, and now he's having a second chance in the NFL. But I'm not one for just ending a kid's career, particularly if the kid's got remorse. Now, if the kid doesn't care, and
I'm not talking about ending his career. Done for the season. If he's a senior, then he's done for his career. If he's a junior, he's got a year left. But I mean, 6 games, honestly, non-conference games. What did that really cost Xavier Cincinnati? So it cost him some.
Well, Xavier's lost
some rankings. Yeah. Well, it cost him some rankings, and maybe it'll cost him a few seeds in the NCAA tournament. But is that really what this experience is all about today? Is it 100% about the game of basketball? Is academics or the image of the university not worth anything anymore?
Well, we can talk about an hour about that.
I know, but I mean, that's my thing. I mean, if I'm the president and I'm in a real quandary about all of that.
Yeah, I don't think either university took it lightly, though. I mean,
I got it.
I don't know those kids. Who knows how they were the next day when they were able to cool down, but.
Well, you heard the press conference after the game. We all heard the press conference, and that was more deplorable to me than what happened on the floor.
I'll tell you what, all I know is that every guy on that team for GU is happy that they'll have a full team, because that'd be a huge win. So for GU's purposes, them being full strength is the best thing, because that's your last chance outside of St. Mary's and BYU to get a really good win if you're able to do that. But to your larger point, it's a tough call. I mean, I doubt it was an easy decision. And
we're losing control, Richard. We got to get control.
It's the man's fault, buddy. It's the man's fault.
That what happened against Cincinnati and Xavier has proven we've lost control. It's time to announce tonight's player of the game, presented by A to Z Rental. No job too big or too small. With 7 convenient locations, we rent everything. Let A to Z Rental be your most valuable player for all your rental needs. Tonight's player of the game, Kevin Pangos, 19 points, 6 of 8 shooting, 2 assists. He's our A to Z Rental player of the game. Merninghoff with a steal. Up to Kaida. Poked away. Back comes Portland. Here's Carr. In and out over Hart. Eddie the rebound. Trying to go inside. Turnover. Is it just because I'm getting old that I'm a little more harsh?
I think I'm pretty old school, too. I mean, there's just so many ways you could have dealt with it. You could have kicked them off the team or suspended them indefinitely and put in some stipulations for them to work their way back. I do think that 6 games for a guy like Yancey Gates wasn't enough. But at the end of the day, whoa! Wow.
Seriously.
One-handed rebound and a one-handed finish from Ryan Spangler. A little bit of a breakout party for him. Now 11 points. Best game since that exhibition to start the season. But he's going to have a role here in conference play. Look for him to get about 10, 12 minutes a game in most ball games. Just for that reason alone, he can rebound the ball at that level.
I'm telling you. The guy has hands that are wound by like the tightest rubber bands in the history of mankind.
He's got excellent hands, no doubt.
Excellent? Well, better than excellent, Richard.
Spectacular.
Spectacular. There you go.
Tremendous. Look at that rebound right there. One-handed, able to kind of cup it on his body and just spins away from the defense, and a nice little baby jump hook. He's gotten more comfortable tonight. You know, I tell you what, Eddie and Spangler tonight with extended minutes, to me, from the moment they got into the game to now, look a lot more comfortable. Looks like the game is slowed down. And some kids, it just takes 2 or 3 games.
Like
for
to a
some kids, it might
broadcaster,
take
it's about
half a
mic
season.
time. It's just about stick time, as they say.
Exactly. I probably sound like I know what I was talking about the first game. Now less so. Maybe still no real idea, but
you're doing a great job, Richard. I didn't have you in mind when I said that.
No, I'm teasing, but
yeah. Carr from the corner. There's a lot of players in the second 5 for Gonzaga that other teams in the West Coast Conference would love to have on their squad. This team for Mark Few may be as deep as any as he's had. Murninghoff misses the 3. It may be as deep as any team he's had, and it may be as versatile as any team he's had. He's had some really deep teams, I get it. Maybe his depth is young this year. I think when you look at the type of pieces he can bring in, Richard, it's really diverse.
No, he's got a great group of kids, and I think he's got a lot of talent. It's young. I don't think it's the most talented group he's had or the deepest team, but it's top 3 or 4. There's no doubt about that. The future's awfully bright. There's no doubt for GU. And the league, like you said, is put on notice. It's not just the best players that start. They can go deep under that bench.
That's going to do it. Gonzaga off to a 1-0 start in West Coast Conference play. 5 wins in a row now, 17 straight against Portland. 31 of their last 32 against the Pilots, and it's their 10th win of this season. It's another great start to a season.
I was just going to say that an excellent way to start your conference schedule. You approached it like it was a big game, even though you got probably a bigger game coming in on Saturday. An excellent effort and approach.
Richard Fox, I'm Greg Heister. Good night. Happy New Year's to everyone out there.